We are live. Yes. Hello. This is Coach Lori with OneLife Coaching and Wellness, and I am here with Lawana. I am so incredibly excited to be here with Lawana, and I want to tell just a little bit of a story of my history with Lawana, and then I want her to have the stage. I met Lawana in Florida. How long ago was that, Lawana?
4 years ago?
Oh my God,
5 years
four
ago?
or 5 years ago. It's crazy. We met, and she was just one of those instant people that you connect with. Her motivation was incredible. I mean, she came to class, and she'll tell you more about her first class and everything, but she was just an inspiration to all. And so I am starting a series now on who inspires you. And we really want to stay positive, especially like with what's going on in the world now. And what more way to be positive than to have somebody on who inspires me beyond all belief, who I've always wanted to stay in touch with since we've come back to Colorado, because you're such a light, Lawana. You really are. So Lawana, let's talk a little bit. Tell us about yourself. Anything that you want to talk about you. We want to hear it.
Oh goodness. I'm so excited to be on here. I've never been on a podcast before. So I'm like, ooh, trying something new. And I really appreciate what you're doing by making space for positivity in the world, because right now there's a lot of darkness and we get distracted by that and we forget that there's double the amount of light in the world. And so I love the fact that you're like showcasing that. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you guys for coming in and tuning in. So I guess some of the things that I would like people to know about me is that I am a Floridian. I'm from Florida. I was born in a little town near Jacksonville in the 50s ago. um, and I never dreamed that my life could be what it is. I was from a really small town, and I knew I didn't want to stay there, but I didn't have any idea that one day I would be traveling around the country as a speech language pathologist. I lived in California and Maryland and Connecticut. I've been to British Columbia. I mean, I have just had so many amazing opportunities, and beyond anything that I could have imagined. And I just really would encourage people to like open yourself up to possibilities, because things happen and come along in your life that you could have never imagined, that makes your life so much better than what you could have thought it would be. I'm also like a mom of four adulting people. So I have a 20-year-old. She'll be 21 in February. A set of twins that are 18. They graduated this year. So we have 3 kids in college. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And my youngest, he'll be 16 in December. So I'm the mom of 4. And I was a homeschool mom. So I homeschooled them from all the way through high school. And then I am passionate about helping women. So I'm divorced, and I went through that hardship, and at the other side, you know, it says that God makes beauty for ashes. And so when we go through the hardships, and they're just so hard, you know, it not only do we get through the other side and there's beauty, but it expands us to recognize and see other people in a way that we might not have seen before. And so going through that has helped me recognize that there are other women who need people to walk alongside them through divorce, or through their identity changing because all their kids are going to college and now they're not a homeschool mom, right? Like things are changing. And so I really have a passion for women. I just think we are strong and we are I think we just are strong, and we don't know how worthy we are and how much value we have, and how we can change the world, whether it's just in our community, in our family, or in a larger picture. And so that's one of the things that I really love talking about.
So you have been divorced. So you raised your kids as a single mom the majority of their life, right? Is that kind of?
I would say, can Kendra was 14, and
Okay.
so for the last 5 or 6 years, so
Okay.
the teenage years.
The toughest, right?
The easy teenage years.
Oh my gosh, I've got teenagers. There's nothing easy about
Yeah,
that. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. So okay, so that's kind of your history, your passion, your and that's just something that is extremely admirable to be able to, take that on, homeschool. Now homeschooling all of that, does that mean that you left your speech pathology and all of that kind of like that life behind? Is that what that?
Oh, that is a good question. So I went to Florida State University, go Seminoles, and I have a master's degree in speech language pathology. And part of that traveling is that's what I did. I worked in Miami for a year, and then I had a friend ask me, "Hey, would you like to be a traveling speech therapist?" Now, I was about 27. Keep in mind that I had just gotten a driver's license when I was 21. So I barely knew how to drive. I barely knew how to drive. And I got a stick shift.
Oh
And
God.
oh yeah. And so that's what I did for like a year and a half to 2 years. We traveled around the country and worked in different facilities. It was fantastic. It definitely expanded my confidence that this is before cell phones, okay? This was a block cell phone with a big antenna, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah.
before you could look up a map. This is where you had to go to the gas station and ask people, like, I'm looking for such and such. Can you tell me where that is?
Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, crazy. So we did that about a year and a half. And then I settled down in North Carolina and I got married there, and we got stationed to Turkey. So I took a 1-year-old to Turkey, and I got pregnant with twins, and I had the twins in Turkey in a Turkish hospital.
Oh my God.
And without anesthesia, people, without anesthesia.
I know all about that, girl.
Yeah, and so when we moved to Turkey, I didn't work as a speech therapist there. So once I had Kendra, I worked per diem. So if anybody was going on vacation or if they needed me to fill in for something, but once we moved to Turkey and I had twins and I had a 2-year-old, I did not do the speech anymore. We got back into the States. We got back in the States when the twins were 1 and Kendra was 3, and then I had Corbin. And so I decided to homeschool. Partly, the main reason was when we discussed how the influence we wanted for our kids, and we realized how many hours out of the day they would be away from us. We wanted to be the main influence in their life. We decided to homeschool. I know people have all kinds of reasons why they do it or why they don't do it, and I've matured enough to know, which I didn't know then, is that people get to make their own choices for their own family, right? I mean, there's not one right answer. And actually, there are really opinions, and there are opinions based on our experiences. And so sometimes you get caught up into thinking that your way is the only way, and just show people grace, because after 20 years, I would say, grace over everything. So we decided to homeschool, and that was a challenge. That was I kind of thought, oh, I went to college, I should be able to do this. Like, I know how to learn. I can
Yeah.
I can do it with, biting my fingernails. And we did it. And one of the things that I would really encourage people is to be flexible, because you have your idea and your plan. Like, have you ever seen a toddler or a preschooler or first grader or high schooler go to your plan? Like, we got this plan, this is what we're going to do, and this is how our school year is going to go. And it doesn't go that way all the time. And so one of the things that I learned as I got older, by kid number 4, you're so flexible.
Yeah, very true.
Kid number 1, you got everything typed out and she's got a name tag, even though you're home. Kid number 4, you're like, sleep in, baby. Whenever you get up, it's fine. You become so much flexible. But that is one of the encouraging things I would say is I did leave my my career as a speech therapist, and I became a homeschool mom. And as a flexibility is like king. But I will tell you, I had an identity crisis. I had a little mini identity crisis. It happened, I was talking about this today. It happened when we moved to Turkey, and I know I didn't have a job. So I didn't have that identity, Lawana Schrieffer, speech therapist. And we lived in a foreign country on a base. And so I became a dependent. I was considered a dependent of Jason Schrieffer. So I would go somewhere and they wouldn't address me as Lawana Schrieffer. They would say, "Oh, you're Schrieffer's wife," or what's his social security number? So there was a time where I was a little bit lost. And then I had twins. And so I just started identifying myself as somebody's mom. I lost Lawana. So I was Kendra, Caleb, and Chloe's mom. And then I was Kendra, Caleb, and Chloe and Corbin's mom. And I was Jason's wife. And I think that can happen a lot of times to women, because we do change identities. Like, we get married, we take on another name, we become someone that's connected to someone else. And that's a little bit of identity change. And then if you're a stay-at-home mom, like I was and still am, that's an identity change. So I don't know how I got into this, but when I got into divorce, that was another identity change. And that's about the time you met me, was when I was freshly going through a divorce and having a new identity.
Well, that's what is so intriguing about your story, and a lot of stories that women and men, everyone has, is that there's different stages, right? There's stages like you're in high school, you're excited for your future, then you go to college, you're excited for that future. You get out of college, it's like, oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. But then you get that job, but then you have kids and you have to make decisions. Do I stay home? Do I do this? And there is a lot. And I recently have gone through that, since moving here from Florida and all of that, like, what do I do? What is my life like? Who am I? And like you said, am I, my husband's wife? Am I my kid's parent? Like, who am I?
Yeah.
And like you said, I think, and I didn't realize at the time that you had just freshly kind of been out of the divorce and everything when you so let's talk about that. So you you've had all of these kind of like identity things, which all of us go through, in depending on whatever stage of life that we're in. And then all of a sudden, you were freshly divorced. You had 4 kids, a single mom. And what in your mind made you decide that something needs to change, as far as maybe a little bit more healthy living or more motivation towards that like healthy lifestyle? What kind of triggered that?
It was a couple of things. One thing was, I was on the couch one day and I couldn't get up by myself. I had no core strength to like, and it was kind of a joke. And I was like, Chloe, come pull me up. And it kind of scared me to realize that physically I was in a place where I really was, I'm the only adult at the house, right? These kids. And to find myself in a place where I couldn't actually get up by myself. I couldn't get off the floor by myself. I couldn't get out of the bed. I mean, I could. It was work. It wasn't, I could do it if I did like 5 steps, roll over, get on my knees, get up, pull up on something. That kind of scared me. So I tried to do a couch to 5K in Florida in June.
Bad idea.
After not doing anything for years, right? Like, so this was definitely in the beginning of the divorce, because I just remember spending days watching Hallmark Channel and ordering pizza for the kids and just being locked in my room. So I had been was immobile, like not using anything. So I couldn't do the couch to 5K. I think Chloe was about to call an ambulance when I tried to run for 60 seconds. She was like, "Are you okay, Mom? Are you okay?" I was not okay. I thought, oh, who couldn't run 60 seconds? People who don't run. So I went to a conference in August, and it was a Young Living conference, and we can talk about that later. But he said, if you walk for 30 minutes a day, it will make such a difference in your mental health and your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, I can walk. I can walk. I know I can walk, right? Like I can't run. I couldn't run, but I can walk. So I started in August in Texas with my friends. I was visiting them and I started walking, and I got home and I was like, I'm going to keep walking. And one of the things that I did was I started talking about it on Facebook, and that helped me with accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not want to go. I had all excuses. I don't have the right clothes. What if people see me? What if I can't make the route that I decided I was going to do? What if my shoes are wrong? All kinds, can I leave the kids at home in the neighborhood, right? All kinds of reasons not to do it. But I found myself doing it. And it gave me, just walking consistently, keeping my word to myself, gave me confidence, and it gave me opportunity just to be alone with my own thoughts and not having to be taking care of somebody or taking care of something. And it just changed, kind of started shifting my mindset about self-care, and being healthy. And so I started walking. I walked for I don't know, I started in August. I think I walked for a year. My friend Gina said, "Hey, if you ever want to walk the bridge, there's just a halfway bridge. It's about 3 miles if you go from Taco Bell and back to the college." And I thought she was crazy. I was like, "I'll never walk the bridge. Have you seen the bridge? I cannot swim. What if something happens? People will see us. What if people see us? It goes up into an incline. Like, who walks the bridge that's sane?" I thought that was the craziest thing I ever heard. But one day I said, "Hey, you want to walk the bridge?" So we just walked the bridge today. So we met up on a Friday, I think. We had a couple of people with us, and we started walking the bridge. And so we've been walking the bridge 4 years, 3 to 4 years of walking the bridge. Well, walking the bridge, being able to walk the bridge, after the first day when I got at the top and I said, "Are we calling people to come pick us up? Because I don't know how we're getting back." And they said, "No, we have to walk back." And I was like, "No." After I walked the bridge for a couple of months, I just knew I could go to the gym. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll just try this class." But I was scared. I called my friend Christy Ward and I said, "There's a class in town, and I've been walking the bridge, so can we go take the class?" But I didn't want to go by myself. And I think a lot of women might find that to be a thing, right? You want to do it, but you don't want to go by yourself. You think people are going to be looking at you. People are going to be judging you. And you're forgetting that everybody in there are in there because they are trying to get their own health thing. They're trying to get their own health goals. But so I went, and it was a free class on a Saturday. Lori was there. And it was so inviting. It was an atmosphere of not, you are a failure if you can't do this push-up, but we are inviting you to try. That's it. Mm-hmm. We're just here to invite you to try, and we're going to encourage you, and we'll adapt to what your level is. You don't have to be doing a pull-up on the first day. You belong here no matter what your level is. And that's what I felt when I went to that class. I was like, I can't do, what's a burpee? I came home and asked my daughter, what is a burpee? They talked about a burpee, and there's something you got to get on the floor, and you got to be able to hop your back up. I was like, I'm confused about that. But there was something about that class that made it easy for me to say, "Hey, Christy, you want to sign up for the boot camp? Because I want to come back." When I left that class that Saturday, I could barely walk. I looked like T-Rex. I drove myself home with my hands on the steering wheel. When I got out of the car, I was still in that position. I was like, I cannot move my arms. I felt fantastic because I did it. Because I went to the class. I did 3 sit-ups. I was not fabulous, but I felt fabulous for doing something.
Well, let me tell you how I felt as you came in and as you did everything that you did, being a coach. I don't know if everybody understands this, and I always try to make it as clear as possible, but I think having you on will be so beneficial to others to know that when a coach, when we want to be a coach, or the good majority of coaches, our entire goal is to help anybody and everybody, and especially those that may not, know what a burpee is, or, you know what I mean? Or know, or, think that they can do it, or that just, literally, like you said, I mean, you came from walking the bridge and you were like, I'm going to take this class. You didn't know what you were getting into. You were scared, and being scared is completely normal, right? That's a normal feeling. You brought a friend with you, which I think is phenomenal, but to see you in there knowing, because you did, you let us know, hey, this is my first class. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Very,
Yeah.
you were very open. It was really fun. But to me as a coach, and to everybody that was in the class, because it was a good sized class, to everybody in that class, I mean, they all remember you, Lawana, because you showed so much effort. I mean, you did everything that was asked, whether it was modified, whether it was, whatever the case may be, you did it. We all knew that you were, again, like I said, brand new. This was something you were nervous to be there. You were like kind of hanging out with your friend, but you kind of got away from her a little bit because you started to feel more confident. And as a coach, that is something that inspires me more than anybody could ever know. And that's why you are here on this podcast with me, is because the inspiration that you not only gave me to see you stepping out of so many comfort zones. I mean, that was not your comfort zone. I'm gonna speak for you on that, right? And then for everybody else to see that too, just made them push harder, made them prouder. I remember people were rooting you on. I remember like a picture. There's a picture of your first day, and you just looked so proud and strong. And I just wanted you to know, like, as a coach and everybody that was around you, how much you inspired me literally that day. And you say it was a game changer for you, but I feel like it was a game changer for me completely. So what inspired you after that craziness to say, hey, now I'm going to take on 8 weeks? What the heck? Why would you do that?
It was so funny because I talked to Christy and we talked to some other friends, and they're like, hey, we'll do it too. And that was kind of fun. And I met Matt and Megan in there, and I met people that the other Lori, and I met so many people, and I love that community. It was just so inviting and encouraging. But I found myself with some resistance, and that was for paying for it. So when you're a single mom, and I think probably for all moms, it's not like my kid's dad is totally in their life and has helped with all in a divorce decree. So it's not like I was begging on the streets or anything. But when you are a single mom, it's hard to put yourself first. Mm-hmm. And I think that's true as any mom. Mm-hmm. So the daughter might want ballet classes, and I'll figure that out. I'll work the ballet desk so she can take the class, and the son might want jujitsu, and we'll figure that out. But when it came to, I think I wanted to go to the gym, and I was like, I'm gonna have to pay for that, and it's just for me. That was tough. That was like a limiting belief, and I like, do you deserve time to yourself and put money into something for you? And I kind of struggle with that. So, but then my other question was, what is going to happen if you don't do it? Mm-hmm. Where will you be if you don't do it? If you don't go? Yeah, you can go walking, but what will your life look like? And what will your kids think of you if you do something brand new that you're scared to do? What will your life look like if you can get through the 8 weeks and make these changes to your body? What will your thinking be like if you can get that confidence and grow into a person who has tried something that was hard and persevered? Like, the fear of paying and the fear of showing up and people like looking was smaller than the possibilities. That's mm-hmm. what happened. So mm-hmm. I just started concentrating more on the possibilities. Like, how many, I could barely pick up the bar, people, when I started, right? How far can I get from picking up the bar? Can I add weights to it eventually? Mm-hmm. Can I do a squat? Will I ever be able to do a burpee? Will I able to, all that started being way more exciting and thought provoking than the fear of paying and committing to pay, or, or not being able to do it. And so, yeah, we signed up for 8 weeks in a boot camp. I thought I was going to die. And then the next 8 weeks, I signed up for heavy weightlifting.
You did.
I did.
Awesome.
What?
Let's go back just a little bit, because what you said is extremely important that I want everybody to hear. And I know that I have a lot of people that talk to me about it as well. And it's that whole process of, how do I put myself first? Because like you said, you are geared. I mean, for goodness sakes, like when you have all of those different stages of your life and different things, and being a mother is one of those like enormous changes in your life, because now all of a sudden you're not just responsible for yourself anymore. You're not just responsible for your marriage with your spouse. Now you are responsible for these little beings in your life, and your whole entire goal is to make them happy and make them flourish and make them, the best that they can be. That's your identity when you become a mom, generally speaking. And you're right. It's like, when I talk to several clients and everybody, it's like, oh, I've got to get my kid in ballet. I've got to get my kid in all of these sports, and my kid. And I'm going to take back seat because my kids need it more than I do. But what you're saying is what a lot of people, do come to the realization of at some point, but beforehand they're like, no, I can't do anything for myself because I can't afford it. Any money that we have is going to go to my kids. Money is a huge thing. Plus time. Are you kidding me? I'm going to take time away from my children when they need me. I mean, an hour, they need me, right? We just know that. We assume that. We can't make any other things happen. They need us. But what you're saying is, you said, okay, I want to be a better mother, right? And a better person in general for my kids. I want to set a better example for my kids. And I don't think people see that. I think people see, I'm selfish. I'm selfish. I'm doing this for me, whatever. But it's really not a selfish thing. You're teaching your kids that mom knows how to take care of herself, that mom cares enough about herself to say, hey kids, I'm taking an hour for me. So now when you're older, you're going to know that you can take an hour for you. Yeah. I'm going to come home and I'm going to be a happy mom. I'm going to be a stronger mom. I'm going to be a healthier mom. And you're not going to have to pull me up off the couch. Yeah. There are so many things, right? So I just wanted to really emphasize, kind of stop you where you were and say, this is something huge. This is something that so many people struggle with. And, you were on the other side of that. You were like, okay. And then you signed up more and more. And let's tell everybody, what was in your mind, to continue to sign up and all of that. I mean, was it still the same motivation, or did you start having different motivations after you continually signed up? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
After I was signed up for a while, I got this crazy idea that maybe I could do a 5K. Yay. Now, I'm the girl who couldn't run 60 seconds right before I started walking. And I took band instead of PE in high school. I played a flute, not even a heavy instrument, people, like a flute.
Your fingers got to work out.
I know. Yeah, I was really great at it. I think what happened is when you're with a group of people who are having shared experiences and shared goals, it expands your ideas of what's possible for you. When you see so-and-so and you're cheering them on, it's not like you're competing. When you see your friend who has had all these knee replacement surgeries and now she's coming in with all this stuff, and in a couple of weeks and a couple of months, she's meeting all these goals. You're so happy for her that it gives you some ideas like, oh, what's possible for me? So I came in being able to get myself off the couch. And then I came in saying, you deserve this time for yourself. I mean, you deserve to spend money on you. You deserve to invest in you. And this is a great lesson for your kids to learn ahead of time. You can serve your family without sacrificing yourself. Not that there won't be
Huge.
sacrifices, but you don't have to be the martyr. You don't have to, work yourself to death or get the end of your life and haven't done anything for yourself because you felt like you couldn't leave your kids or you couldn't spend money on yourself. That's just not, I just don't believe that's the way God made it.
Mhm.
So I got to that. So then one day I was like, I want to do a 5K. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do a 5K. And and then people were encouraging me, like, let's go run the bridge. Oh my gosh, yay.
Yeah.
Let's go
So
run the
hard.
bridge.
That is so
Oh
hard,
my
by the
God.
way. Those of you that do not know the bridge in Panama City, I don't know what the elevation is because it's like the only elevation in Florida, right? But it is exhausting. I mean, you're starting down and the elevation of that bridge, it's going over water. It is a huge elevation. So it's not just like this little leisure bridge.
It's not like a little straight bridge. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
like, up,
it
up,
is
up,
a
up.
huge bridge that goes up and then down, right? And then you've got to come back if you're parked on the other side.
Yeah. And Lori, they don't bring donuts for you like you ask for. Like I used to ask for donuts all the time. Do you remember that? Because we were right near Krispy Kreme, and I would be like, she would have us run outside, and I'd say, "Can we run to Krispy Kreme?" And she'd say no, but I don't know why. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a new goal. So I did a 5K. Gina, my friend Gina, who walks the bridge with me, we did a 5K, and it was so awesome. And then you had different classes. So when I first started, I only did boot camp, and then I did that heavy weight. And then I would stare in the HIIT class and I would like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. But I had gotten so used to pushing myself to do stuff I wasn't comfortable with now that I tried out the HIIT and I was like, this is crazy. I'm going to die. I'll come back tomorrow. Like it just like, let me sign up for that class now. So I did HIIT, and then you guys saw me do weight training, and you said, you're a heavy lifter. Oh my gosh. I felt like the queen of something. I was like, I'm a heavy lifter. Yeah. I can lift heavy. And so I loved it. I think I just love words of affirmation. And so anytime that I did something, you guys were so affirming about it. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I can do a bench press. I can do squats. I can do, thrusters. I could just pull up. Oh my gosh. So I just start falling in love with just trying all the different things and seeing how far I could go. And I love when you would have a challenge. I know you've been having challenges in this group because you start off here, and in those 4 or 8 weeks, you can get so much further than you ever imagined. It's not like you have to have an end goal, but you just see that if you're consistent with that action, if you consistently show up, then you can change so many things. And so I always tell you, you like changed my life. I seriously mean that. I was depressed. I was home by myself with 4 kids, trying to homeschool them and make life as normal as possible in a not normal situation. I had a lot of friends. I had a core group of friends that were supporting me, but it was hard. It was tough. And it just changed my life to go into that gym that Saturday and take that free class. And if I had to list the top 10 influential women in my life, Lori Castellini would be totally at the top. I mean, it was just life-changing for me. So I mean, I don't know where I would be if I never left that apartment and came into that gym.
Well, and that's just it. Like, I mean, I've got goosebumps. I'm like almost speechless, which is really not normal for me from what you just said. But it is, I mean, it's really, the thing is that, you can say that, somebody changed your life, but in order for that person to have changed your life, you had to take that first step, right? And that first step is what goosebumps are going crazy on me. I'm so sorry. I'm like, my whole body's like in goosebumps now, but like you took that first step in order to change your life, right? Like, and that's what is so important for people to understand, is that, you know, you can say, oh, this person inspired me, this person influenced me, this person did that, but at the same time, it takes a jump, it takes a leap of faith on your part to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to get off this couch. Hey, I am so scared to go into this gym right now. Like you said, I remember you talking, I don't know if I have the right shoes, I don't know if I have the right workout clothes, I don't know if people are going to be staring at me, I don't know if people are going to be looking at me. I mean, you're full of fear. You bring a friend with you to hopefully help that fear, but it's still there. So you are just stepping out of your comfort zone like crazy to do something. And that's what life is about, right? Like, step out of that comfort zone and then your life will change. But
Yeah.
until then, your life would have not changed if you didn't take that step. And that's what is so important. I want for everybody to know from this message, because again, you're one of the first people that pop into my head when it comes to inspirations for me, because again, you're at the top of my list. You say I'm at the top of your list, you're at the top of my list, because I think of somebody that stepped out at a very, very hard time in their life, stepped out, did something that was so scary, and then not only did it, but you flourished and you enjoyed it, and you convinced others to do it, and your persona changed, your attitude changed, you'd walk in there like you owned the place, whereas prior you'd be like scared, but pretty soon you're walking in there, you know, doing your 200-pound deadlifts or whatever and lifting heavy and squatting. And you know, I remember when you got another pair of shoes and you were so happy with your shoes. And I mean, there was just so many things that we celebrated together, and that makes that this is just so inspiring in both directions. And that's what I really want to make clear, is like, when you are training with a trainer or a coach, it is more than just one-sided. It is two-sided. That's why we do what we do. We love to see what happens and what comes from somebody stepping out of their comfort zone. And we appreciate it because it's hard, right? It's hard to do that. And you did it. And you took time away from 4 children, right? But you were homeschooling with 4 children, single mom in your home, drove how far for the workouts?
20 minutes one way.
20 minutes one way to the workout, 20 minutes back, hour workout. So it took out a good 2 hours of your day to be there while you're homeschooling, taking care of the entire house, all up to you, but you still took care of yourself. It's amazing.
It was, yeah. I remember coming into the gym later after I'd been there a while and like waving at people, you know, like Norm off of Cheers. Norm. It was like, hey, Lawana. And that was amazing. I love the community. And I do appreciate that it wasn't like a business transaction. It wasn't like, I'm just having this class to get more money. I never felt like that. Like I'm just having this class to get more money. I always felt like it was an invitation to pursue becoming better at being you in a physical form. And it was also very encouraging. I remember some of the members box jumping with me or staying late while I was finishing, because I wasn't the fastest, and you would have those horrible workouts and I would take pictures of them, but they would list all the things, and there could be some running, there could be box jumps. You know, I had such a terror of box jumps after a while, squats and all the things that would take time. And I just remember being encouraged to finish, not you had to be faster, Lawana, or you had to do this, you had to do more numbers of this. It was like, you do you, but finish. Like, that was the main thing, because I feel like when we learn to finish, when we learn to keep our word to ourselves, that's basically what we're doing, right? When we show up on the days we don't want to, and sometimes I don't, like, I'm not 100% at that. I haven't been in the gym in a long time. I've been doing yoga lately, but when we learn that we can trust ourselves, we can trust ourselves. We can trust ourselves to keep our word, and you can learn that in the gym, because you learn to finish, whether it takes you the 30 minutes of the class or the 45 minutes, or it takes you an hour. And I just was so encouraged by the community, because people would wait for me. They would clap for me. They would do it with me. They would run alongside me. I mean, it just was an amazing time in my life, being with you guys. So I don't feel like you're choosing yourself first when you are a mom and you decide to do something hard or something that costs money and that might take time. I feel like you're shoring up the foundation of the family. Like if the foundation isn't solid, if it doesn't have a sense of self, how is it going to help the other people in the family? And if I didn't fix myself emotionally, which is what happened in the gym, who knew? But if I didn't learn that I can do hard things, then it was hard to make those hard decisions in other areas of life, right? And so coming to the gym helped me learn to do hard things in like a physical way and transform that lesson, that muscle. It got worked to other areas of my life, like homeschooling a high schooler, getting kids into dual enrollment, things that I'd never done before either, helping my kid get into college. So I know people kind of might think, I don't want people to think like it's just going to the gym, because there's a ton of personal growth and development that happens outside of the muscles that you might gain or the weight you might lose when you put your health as a priority.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that you had kind of touched on. I know my brain just my brain just fried on that a little bit. But when you take care of yourself, like you said, using that muscle, of taking care of yourself, and then you are proud of yourself. I think like especially as a mom, because I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and I was just kind of training and stuff, and just trying to find my self-worth. Like, what am I good at? Like, I mean, I can keep this kid alive. I guess that's a quality. Like, I guess that's my quality. I guess that's my identity. But when you start going to some place, and again, like you said, it's not just going to the gym. It's literally, I feel like I've accomplished something. I did something that I never thought I could. I am proud of myself. Like you said, like you didn't know what a burpee was to where you were doing burpees. Your squats, I remember your squats getting so low, and like all of these things, and your weight, like I could never be more proud every time you added on weight to that dang barbell. I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. And you had to feel good about that. So it's like, if you can find some time in your life, literally maybe just 1 hour a day, right, where you can feel proud of yourself, where you can feel accomplished, and then at the same time you're getting these endorphins that are just like going crazy, and you've got a support around you that loves you and cares about you, that is not like your family, not your circle that you're already kind of in. That's huge, right? I mean, that is huge, just like you said, to bring home to your family and be a better human being in general. Right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now you're not just, I can keep this kid alive. You are now Lawana that takes on tough things. You are now Lawana that says, I didn't think I could do that, and now I can do that. And then I tried, and I stepped out, right? Yeah. You stepped out. So let's talk a little bit about, so stepping out of your comfort zone. What are some of the things that you learned from stepping out of your comfort zone? Because you've obviously stepped out of your comfort zone a lot, having a baby in a different country. What are some of the lessons that you learned from stepping out?
I learned fear is a liar. 9% of the things that you're afraid of don't come to pass. And that you're stronger than you think. When I was afraid to go into the gym because of people seeing me because I was out of shape, and I went into the gym and people saw me because I was out of shape, like nothing happened. Like, it's not like I just like poofed, like nothing happened. Like, absolutely no one's ever said anything to me. Nothing, absolutely nothing ever happened negative at the gym. But I feel like we tell ourselves stories to be comfortable. And once you start recognizing that what you're saying in your head is just a story that your mind is coming up with to help you, it's not trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you, and it's just wants you to be you're protected if you're comfortable, right? You're not risking anything in comfort. Risk doesn't happen in comfort zones. I just started learning to be more aware. Like, is this true? What's the worst that can happen? If I go to the gym today, and what's the worst thing that can happen? And if that worst thing happened, what can I do? Like, you have more options than you think. So like the worst thing nothing ever happened, right? And so after a while, it's like there's nothing gonna happen. Like you just realize
this all in your head, right? You build this
just
like
some thought you're having.
Yeah, you have this enormous like talk with yourself in your head. And then like you said, you get there and you're like, okay, everything that I thought was gonna happen, nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. I mean, sitting in the parking lot, watching people go in, even I've done that, like scared to go in, and then nothing happens. You fall off the box jump, nothing happens. Nobody is there to laugh at you. And you can't lift the weight. You had to take the weights off that you thought you could do. Nothing happens. Like that should be a t-shirt, right? Nothing happens. Like,
we might have to have that t-shirt.
Yeah, we need it. So I just learned, I traveled across the country, and like I said, I had only had a driver's license when I was 21. So I went to college without one, didn't have a car. I just got the license to go to clubs because I watched, A Different World, and I thought that's what college was like. And so I got my driver's license, no car until I graduated and got a job and moved to Miami. And I think I finally have realized that the world is so full of possibilities that you could deny yourself of if you don't go out of your comfort zone. Like, you will never see the possibilities that life offers you, and they are gorgeous, right? Some of them fit, some of them don't fit, but just opening yourself up to having that possibility, it's worth that. Talking to you have to give yourself, who's scared that something's going to happen. You're going to be like, girl, we'll be okay. Like, we'll be okay. If some dumb is not the right word. Dumb is kind of the right word. If somebody is inconsiderate enough to say something to you about your size, you're going to be okay. And it's more about them than you. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. And so if the worst happened, if something bad happens, you're going to be okay. And that's what I'm learning now. Like, don't let fears keep you from doing hard things or new things or uncomfortable things, because that just makes your life small. Mm-hmm. And you want to live. I read this book a couple of years ago, and I really wish it was like a nonfiction great book, but it was like a romance novel. And he said in the book, I want to live fully. Like, I want to live. And there's so much to this world and the people in it. If you stay comfortable, you're going to miss out. And I want it. Coming out of divorce and being a stay-at-home mom who homeschooled, my life had gotten really small, right? Mm-hmm. Really small. We do school, we go to swim, we go to bed. We do school, we go to swim, we go to bed, and we go to church on Sunday. And it was the same thing every day. And when I went through that divorce, when I took that first boot camp class, when I started coming back, I started seeing that the possibilities of life are huge and endless, and life could be big. And I wanted to live a full life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's huge. That is so huge. And that's
my goal.
That's something that I talk about all the time, because I'm very similar. Like, I was always really shy and really, to myself and timid, and didn't really want to step out of comfort zones because it was comfortable and all of that. And then the second that you start doing it, you're like, you're right. Nothing happened. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm scared half out of my mind, and I still am. And I still am introverted, and I still am all of these things. But it's like, why not? How long do we have in this life to, like you said, live that kind of narrow path? So before we go, I really want to talk about something else that you've taken on during this whole process, because you weren't just I want to say just a stay-at-home mom. You were working during that time, and you were doing Young Living. And let's talk just a little bit about, what got you started in Young Living, and that you're still doing it now, and just give us a little bit on the Young Living front.
Oh, that's so funny. And I really appreciate you throwing that out there. And I will have to give Lori a shout out. She came to a class that I had because I started realizing that about health, about how to get exercise as stay-at-home moms who might not be making it to the gym once a week. You gave us some pointers on what we can do at home and to do some exercising. And you also encouraged me to like do a pop-up class here at the gym. Like people need to know what you're doing. So I got into Young Living about 8 years ago because I really was frustrated with what was happening with my kids. I have 4 kids, and 3 out of the 4 have asthma. And we were on that same regimen with the breathing treatments and the nebulizer and the steroids, and it wasn't changing. And the youngest was about 10, and the doctor said, well, let's put him on steroids indefinitely. I don't know. And she literally said, don't worry about his growth being stunted. He will eventually catch up. And I was like, there's got to be an alternative to this. Like, what else can I try? And that's how I fell into Young Living, just asking questions and reading blogs and stuff. Because I really started thinking, what if you could get ahead of the seasonal changes? And that's what would kick it in. The seasons would change. They'd get a little postnasal drip, and then it would develop into some kind of chronic cough, and then it would be the whole thing. And that's how we got into it. But what I love about it was, and this is what my really a passion of mine, another passion that I didn't know I had, because when you're living a narrow life and you're just concentrating on being a mom, and your therapist says, what do you like, or what do you think I mean, I found that I couldn't answer those questions. I didn't know what Lawana liked. That wasn't, and it couldn't have to do with my kids. I didn't know. And so beyond the fact that we have been using them for 8 years, and it did change our need for a lot of stuff when the seasons changed, and like we got off the couch. They weren't stuck on the couch because we were going through that seasonal change, is that it gave me an empowered feeling to find an answer outside of the norm for my kids and for my family. And what I really love about that opportunity was during the divorce, Young Living gave me some direction, because, your whole, we had to move, our schedules change, everything's changed. And it was something that I was building a community. I have like 180 something people, and it gave me some direction. I knew something that I had to do that day, like make a phone call or check in with people or see how things are going. And it just helped anchor me when everything else was so topsy-turvy. And so I think everybody should be on essential oils, and everybody should have Young Living, but more than that, I think everyone should be empowered to know that they can make good choices, solid, sound choices for their families, and outside of the norm. Like they can trust themselves to know what their family needs, and just be confident that you can do that. And it just empowered me a little bit, right? Like, so having a group, having a community, I'm building a community of encouraging people, and learning product education and learning about the products, and doing I do classes every week. That just has been a confidence builder too. And I just really want it to be a stepping stone to helping women feel empowered to make choices for their family. I just remember sitting in a doctor's office with Caleb. He's my oldest son. And he was like, he had really bad eczema where he was scratching and bleeding, like his knees were bleeding, and we were having to put the things on his hands and the lanolin lotion and the oatmeal baths and all this stuff. And we went into the clinic, and I knew he was allergic to peanuts, but she gave me an oil with peanut oil to put on him.
Oh my God.
I was that mom who was like, well, it's a doctor. The doctor said. And so I put it on him, and it flamed, and like he was bleeding down his legs. And it just made me realize, like, you had the right to ask questions. You had the right to do some research and say, this doesn't feel right to me, or I don't want to do that. And that's really what Young Living did to me, is like, help me feel empowered enough to make decisions for my kids' health, for our health. And so
Yay.
that's why I love it.
That's awesome. Well, again, yeah. So
Yay.
you did it all. Like you said, you say you were a stay-at-home mom, but you basically, built an empire. You built an empire with your business. And so, yeah, I just wanted to close by thanking you so much
Yay,
for being
thank you.
on this podcast / live Facebook Live. I mean, I adore you. I know that we have kept in contact since since Florida. You are always going to be top in my brain for
Top
things.
of the list.
Top of the list, because you inspire me so much. And I just know that so many people, Lawana, so many people are going to be so inspired by everything that you said today. I'm getting goosebumps again. But I truly know that. I truly know you touched on so many things that I hear from other people's hearts, that they're scared, and everything that you said, you've touched on. I just feel like it's going to touch so many hearts. So I appreciate you being here so much. I will put a link to your Young Living, so make sure you send that to me. I'll put that link on the podcast as well, so people can get in touch with you if they have questions on Young Living. But before we go, is there anything that you want to say to everybody before we go? Anything you want to leave us with?
Yes, I would like to say, you get choices in life. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but you do. And I want you to choose to be the light. Choose to be the light. Somebody needs you. You don't think so. You don't know. You might not know them, but somebody needs to see what you have to say. And if you can be the light for someone, you can change their life. And so I just want to encourage you guys to seek the light and be the light.
Whew. Oh my gosh, girl, getting me emotional here. Thank you so much, Lawana.
Thanks so much for having me. I really had a good time. I might have to get a podcast myself. I like these.
You really should. You really should, Lawana. And I want to be first on your. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta be first on that podcast. So
that's right.
Awesome, girl. I was just thinking that. I'm like, she needs to get one. She's amazing. So awesome, girl. Thank you so much for talking.
Thanks, you guys.
Amazing to hear from you. Have a great day, girl.
Bye.
Bye.